Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of the Fishing Teacher. Thanks for checking out today's video. And guys, today we're going to be talking about treble hook sizes. And I'm going to give you all some basic information about how to choose the right size of treble hook, because the right size of treble hook has a ton to do with not only how many bass that you're going to catch, but how many bass that you're going to get to strike your lure too. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Now, first of all, I want to keep this, like I said, in line with the Fishing Teacher mission of sort of starting out for beginning anglers. I sort of want to keep it a little bit basic with this. So one of the things that we'll get into is like, you have each lure that you have. Now we're talking about lures that have treble hooks, or lures like topwater lures and crankbaits and jerk baits and that type of stuff. And pretty much out of the factory, they come with, some of them have the right hooks on them and some of them don't. Some of them have maybe a little too small hooks on them. Some of them have a little too big hooks on them. Some of them have cheaper hooks, because one way that a lure manufacturer saves money on their lures is they put a lower quality treble hook on there. And when I'm talking about a lower quality treble, I'm talking about ones that have a lower grade of steel in it. The barbs may be the wrong size. They may just be a lot cheaper to produce. So some of the aftermarket treble hooks you have, like the ones made by Gamakatsu or something, are a lot more quality component as far as strength and sharpness. So I do recommend changing out most all the trebles that come on your lures. There are very few treble hooks, guys, on the market out there from the manufacturer that comes with the best treble hooks on it, simply again because of the cost consideration. So one of the best things I can advise with you on that is get a really high quality replacement treble. Now, if you don't want to do that, you know, it's fine to use the hooks that are on the bait. They're still going to catch fish and they're still going to hook fish, maybe not the best, but eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have to replace that hook. If you don't lose the lure, eventually the hooks are going to get dull from getting, bouncing against rocks and bouncing against the lure itself. You may get them hung up and you may straighten them out. Eventually you're going to have to replace the hooks, and that's when you need to consider the aftermarket hook. Now, when you want to replace a hook, there's a couple different considerations to think about before you do it. Number one is you don't want to, let me get one of my crankbaits here and I'll show you. Number one is you don't want to put a crankbait hook on that allows the hooks to catch each other. In other words, see like this crankbait right here, if you put these hooks together like that, they don't cross. And a lot of times, if you put hooks on there that are too big for your lure, and when if they're too big or the shanks on them are too long, the hooks will get hooked on each other. And what happens is when you make a cast out there, these hooks will get hung on each other and you don't know it, and the fish hits the bait and you'll never catch the fish because the hooks are hung together like that. So first of all, make sure that you got the size of hooks on there that don't interfere with that. But what you want to do is you want to put the biggest hook on there that allows you not to get the hooks hooked together on there. There's a fine line with that. And all hooks are different, because some hooks have different shank lengths on there. And it's not necessarily how wide the gap is on the hook, but it's how long the shank of the hook is that determines if it's going to get caught up or not there. So that's one of the biggest considerations with that. The second consideration with that is the lure profile that you have. Some lures, like say for example, like this flat-sided crankbait, excuse me, there's not a lot of mass as far as the bait to get in the way there, so you can get by with a little bit finer finer hooks on there. But some baits, like let me get you one of the big crankbaits here. Should have had all this stuff out, but I just got back from returning them and I'm really unorganized there. Some lures, like a larger crankbait like this, where there's more mass on it, you're going to have a larger hook bite gap diameter to offset all the extra plastic there. So each lure is going to require a different hook on there. Another things that I'll tell you about hooks, guys, is that if you're using like a jerk bait or something like that, go with a little bit smaller hook. You'll get a lot better action on the lure and a lot better hookups with it. And in general, if you could tell me, it's like, okay, Randy, do I need to, what size, if I can choose a hook, what size do I want to go? Because I'm not sure if I'm using one that's a little bit too big or one that's a little bit too small. If you have any doubt in your mind, go to the smaller hook, because the smaller hook is going to give your bait more lifelike action, and the more lifelike action is going to increase the number of strikes that you get. And another thing about that, a smaller hook tends to have a little smaller diameter, and hooking power is all about penetration, and you get better penetration with a smaller diameter hook than you do a larger diameter hook. So always go down to a little bit smaller hook as far as, if you got a choice one way or the other. The hook that I would recommend, guys, is that Gamakatsu. They make one called a Gamakatsu G Finesse hook. That is like, got this nano coat on it. It's slick. It's got a needle point. It's small diameter. I found that to work really good with that. But anyway, guys, just a quick little video on hooks here. Like I said, I don't think a lot of people pay enough attention to hooks. I think they just, think whatever's on the bait is pretty much good to go. And like I said, they are serviceable, but there's some things you can do to have some better success if you put those aftermarket hooks on there. So anyway, hope it helps out. We'll talk later.